I'd like to share with you some of the more realistic things about calling turkeys. You have to put feeling into your calling, and you have to get that gobbler to know that you're excited.
To add realism into your turkey calling, the only way I know how to do that is to listen to real turkeys, both hens and gobblers, just by listening to what the hens will do when they're talking to gobblers and what the gobblers respond to.
I've talked about it before, about how a turkey listens the whole time they're calling. When she's yelping, when she's clucking, when she puts those little cuts into any kind of her yelping, she's all the time listening for that response. When she gets that response, that's where you can really throw some feeling into that calling by exploding into a short run of cutting and then go right into some excited hen yelping.
Those cuts in with the yelps just adds that extra little bit of realism that might convince that gobbler to close that distance.
What that's doing right there is that's telling that turkey, again, how excited you got when you heard him gobble. Hi, my name is Billy Yargus, and I want to share with you today things that you can do to be able to lure that gobbler into you, maybe lure that hen into you. A kiki run is a lost call, but it can be used in the spring too. What that is, a high-pitched whistle with some yelps at the end of it, and that's telling them turkeys that you're lost. And that may play on the sympathy side of that hen and get her to draw to you. Who's going to be behind her? That old gobbler.
The way I do it, I set the call in the center of my mouth, just like with all my other calls. If this was my tongue, the call would lay on there just like that. And I prefer to use a ghost cut. What that does, with a ghost cut, I can lay my tongue on there and blow air straight across the center of the reed. And by pushing up a little higher on it and changing the way my throat, the shape of my throat, I can bring that higher pitched sound out of the call.
I was hunting in Kansas here 3 years ago, and one hen stood out there and started doing a kiki run. 5 or 6 hens went running right straight to her. I started doing a kiki run, and guess what happened? Every one of those turkeys came right down into our decoys. That's something you can think about. Next time you got a gobbler out there and he's all henned up, throw a few kikis at him and see if those hens will respond. Get them to come on into you. I'd like to share with you how to close the deal with a gobbler that's taking his time and he's maybe even hung up. He's standing out there and he's strutting at 60, maybe even 100 yards away. You can finish him off with just a few clucks and purrs and just some soft, subtle yelps, nothing aggressive. Just try to build his curiosity into wanting to come and see what that hen's doing. Why is she not coming to him?
It's also a contentment call. It just tells the other turkeys that everything's at ease.
What I like to do is I like to purr, and I'll do it with the back of my throat, the little eagle in the back, by gurgling.
And I do that by just rolling my tongue, just fluttering my tongue, kind of like.
I can adjust the tone of my call by putting more pressure on the reeds of the call, or I can drop them down and get a little deeper sound to it.
That soft stuff that I just demonstrated is so very important for not only letting that bird know where you're at first thing in the morning, but sealing the deal once he gets in there closer to your setup.
That's the last little thing that I do before I pull that trigger.
The tip I'd like to share with you today is a box call. On a windy day, there's not a better call out there. It cuts the wind, it gets out there, it's got the volume, but more importantly than any of that is a box call is probably the most realistic call out there.
With this box call, my favorite thing is really to locate turkeys. This thing has got a real high-pitched front end on the yelp with a little rasp on the end of it to make those yelps carry down a holler or carry out across a wide open plain.
Easy call, one of the best calls for a beginner to learn on. Probably safe to say that over the years, the box call has been the demise of more turkeys than any other call. Every box call, it has a different sound, just like every hen turkey has a different sound.
One of the things you have to watch for is where you put your fingers on the side of this box. As I move my thumb down, it's going to get louder and louder. See what it did when I just moved it?
It's just a matter of listening to some turkeys and trying to make the box call sound like that.